Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eva Varnai. I'm an International Relations Officer here at Budapest Metropolitan University. And I'm going to give you a short review of the country, and then I'm going to talk about the university itself, the unique selling points, the programs, and some interesting facts about the university. So let me just start my PPT. Okay, I don't know how to put this aside. Okay. So Hungary is the member of the European Union, also in the NATO and the Schengen zone. What is important to know that it's a relatively safe country. It's the sixth country in Europe regarding the number of English language programs. Okay, I hope you can see it well. Is it okay now? I hope so. So Hungary is very rich in culture and talent. There are lots of musicians, inventors, Olympic champions. Living expenses in Hungary are quite low. It's affordable compared to other European countries, like Western European countries. The average living cost is 500 euros per month, including accommodation. Here you can see a couple of musicians we are very proud of. Hungary is famous for inventions. You can see that, for instance, the safety matches were invented by a Hungarian, or the ballpoint pen as well, and other lot of things which we use every day. We are very good at sports. A lot of medals are taken by Hungarians at the Olympic Games. One of the Olympic medalists is Daniel Gyurta, who studies at the university. The foreign investments is among the highest in Central Europe. Here you can see a couple of companies which are in Hungary. They are all foreign companies, and the university has connections with many of them. And a couple of interesting facts about Hungary and Budapest itself. Its population is 1.7 million, so it's relatively small, but big enough to offer a lot of opportunities. It's the best value for money city according to the TripAdvisor, and it won other awards as well. Here you can see the parliament, which is quite famous. The New York Cafe, which is one of the most beautiful cafes of the world. And the university is located in the heart of Budapest. What is good to know about it is that there are 8,000 students. 10% of them are international students. It's the biggest private university of Hungary, and we've got the highest number of art programs. The university is very practice-oriented, and we focus on creativity. Each degree programs have compulsory trainings. and we've got more than 800 professional partners. It's good to know that 87% of our graduates find a job within 3 months after graduation, which is quite good, I think. Here you can see our major professional partners, which the students can do their internships at. And here you can see how the number of students increased year by year, and the number of international students. Well, we've got international students from all over the world. I must say that almost from all countries. The number of Indian students is between 10 to 15 currently, and the number of international students is growing. The programs that we offer are both in English and in Hungarian. We've got nearly 20 programs in English. When a student comes to Hungary, they do not have to speak Hungarian because the English programs are only in English. So there are both bachelor and master programs. Here you can see the list of bachelor programs. First the art programs, then the business programs, and we also have communication and international relations. And here you can see the master programs. Basically, there are two intakes. One is in February and the other one is in September. The September intake is always a bit bigger and busier. For those who would like to take a master program, but their bachelor studies are not really connected to the desired program, we provide a pre-master program, which is 1 semester long, and the students can acquire the necessary knowledge for starting the master program. There are also preparatory programs in English. First of all, also there is a foundation semester for art programs, which is only in the February intake, and professional foundation semester for business studies if someone hasn't studied a lot of maths or they were not very good at that. And there is the pre-master program. So the university has a double degree program with Coventry University from the UK, and it's good to know that there are other foreign language courses available, like Chinese, Spanish, French, Russian, and also Hungarian, just to know the basics. So here are the programs which are available by Coventry University. These are mostly business programs. There is one from the field of tourism. There are two options how the students can join the Coventry program. One of them is a top-up program. For that, the students need to have 120 credits from their previous bachelor studies, and then they can complete their studies in only 1 year, and they can gain the degree of Coventry University. The other option is when they get 2 degrees, one from Coventry and one from Metropolitan University. The advantages of taking this degree as well is that they are going to hold a UK degree, which is quite valuable. And also the living expenses in Hungary are way lower than in the UK. And what the students really like is that they do not have to write a thesis or take a final exam. There are also summer workshops available. These are usually about photography or film, but tourism or business can be in focus as well. And basically, this is about the introduction of the university. Okay, I think I haven't talked about the international scholarship opportunities. There are two main programs. One of them is Erasmus, called Erasmus. It gives the option to spend 1 or 2 semesters in another European university. Also, there is an internship program of Erasmus. And the other one is called Campus Mundi, which gives the option the students to go overseas, and they can study in the USA or in other Asian countries and in South America as well. Both of these programs provide scholarship. In Europe, it can be between 400 to 600 euros, and in like overseas, it can be 900 euros. Also, I haven't really talked about the accommodation opportunities that are provided by the university. So we've got a dormitory, which is about 30 minutes from the campus by public transport. The public transport system is quite good in Hungary, and it's also cheap for the students. It's only 12 euros per month by student card. In this dormitory, there are twin rooms, and it costs 200 euros per month. It's very well facilitated. There is a shared kitchen in each floor, and bathrooms, separate bathrooms for each room. Also, there is the apartment houses of the university, which is situated a bit closer to the campus itself. Basically, there are 3 types of rooms. One of them is single room. There are 2 bedrooms, and there are 3 bedrooms. The prices are 290, 250, and 190 euros. These are quite popular among the students, and it really helps them to settle in Hungary. I usually like mentioning that it's easy to find Indian food and vegetarian food in Budapest. It seems to be quite important, especially for the Indian students. They often seem to worry about it. We ask for the high school results, which must be like 60% or above. For business programs, it's very important to have strong mathematics skills. For art programs, it's also very important to provide a portfolio of previous works. Our institute checks these works, and they make a decision. For master's studies, basically finished bachelor studies are very important, and we always check the transcript of records, and there is a certain number of credits the students need to have in order to be able to start a master program. If they do have that, they can start the master program. If they do not, we recommend them to start with a pre-master program. So there was another question, how many intakes? There are 2 intakes. One of them is in February and the other one is in September. The deadlines for that, for the February intake is 30th of November, and for the September intake is 30th of June. What is very important to know, and I haven't mentioned yet, that there is always an early bird deadline, like a month before the normal deadline, and it gives the students 10% discount of the first semester's fee. Okay, so the double degree program is the program of Coventry University. There are 2 options. Either a student arrives with previous bachelor studies where the students completed at least 120 credits or obtained 120 credits. So it is usually 4 finished semesters. Then they can have a top-up degree, so they can obtain the degree of Coventry University in 1 year, 2 semesters. And then the other option is when they start their studies at Metropolitan University and they decide to take the degree of Coventry as well, then they can do the 2 programs at the same time in their 5th and 6th semesters, and they finish their studies with 2 degrees. The advantages of it is that it's way cheaper than doing it in the UK, but still very valuable because it's a UK degree, and also from the student's point of view, it's important that there is no thesis that must be written and there is no final exam. So basically, as for the IELTS requirements, for master's studies, it's at least band 6, which we look for, but the students do not have to have the certificate itself, because during the admissions procedure, there is Skype interview which we hold with the applicants, and during this Skype session we can assess the language skills of the students. For the bachelor studies, IELTS 5.5 is enough. Still, they do not have to have a certificate itself. Okay. Is education in Hungary better comparing other English countries? I would say we also have an internationally recognized degree. Of course, there are advantages and disadvantages. Basically, what is the big advantage is the living expenses and the low tuition fees. After completing their degrees, the students can find job with this degree all over the world, in the European Union or outside the European Union. If they complete their bachelor studies, they can continue with master's studies basically anywhere. I would say the requirements can be sometimes a bit higher, because, for instance, in a British university, in most of the British universities, a thesis and a final exam is not a must. Here in Hungary it is. So they have to write a thesis and they have to take a final exam at the end of their studies. Is there any age limit for master's students? There isn't really. I haven't really heard of any age limit for master's students. What is good to know for bachelor students that they can start their studies from the age of 18 and with special permission from their parents from the age of 17. Yes, so basically 17 and 18, and also finished high school studies are very important for starting a bachelor degree. So basically the application procedure itself is quite easy because we have an online application system. I'm going to show you this system. It's very easy to use. Like, this is the first page. For agencies and educational consultants, we can provide an advisor login. Basically, you get a code, and with that code, you're going to be able to submit an unlimited number of applications by using only one email address. So basically, when you start the application, you can choose the program for the student. This is an existing application which I just chose to demonstrate. So you need to give basic details like profile details. It's just important to know, and it's often a tiny mistake which makes a bit difficult to submit the application, or basically impossible to submit the application if a photo is not uploaded. So it must be uploaded, or some kind of picture at least. So the contact details are very important. Basic details of the education, basic details of language knowledge, and the documents can be uploaded here as well. So high school certificate, high school transcripts, passport is very important. For master's studies, the bachelor transcripts, and also the bachelor degree as well. In the other section, there are just additional information. Here you can also put that you're a consultant or educational agency. And basically this visa supporting documents checklist is not something that is required. Without filling these sections out, the application can be submitted. So very important to click on Save and Submit once the application is ready. So once it's done and the application is submitted, we can invite the applicant for a Skype interview. This interview is 20 to 30 minutes long. We just want to get to know the student a bit better, talk about why they want to come here, why they chose the university, what they know about Hungary, what they expect, and what they want to do in the future. It also prepares them a little bit for the visa interview, and they can also have questions and we answer them. It's also good to know that there is an application fee, which is 95 euros, and it's good to know that it doesn't have to be paid once the application happens. We usually let the applicants to pay it together with the tuition fees. It's easier for them, and it saves money basically because they do not have to pay the transfer charges twice. So once the interview is done as well, we check the documents. If they're okay as well, we can issue a conditional acceptance letter. This conditional acceptance letter basically tells about the payment details. What's important to know that we ask for 2 semesters fees for the first time. Basically, it gives bit of security for getting the visa, because the embassy can see that the student has the necessary financial background. Also, it gives some security for us that the student comes to Hungary for study purposes, but those students who come through an agency usually want to stay. Also, what is important to know that we have a visa assistance package. It includes two things. One of them is health insurance for 120 euros, and the other thing is the legal assistance with the visa supporting documents. That's 100 euros. The first one, the health insurance, is obligatory because it's required by the embassy, and basically all students need to have health insurance during their studies, during the whole length of their studies. This 120 euros is for the first 6 months, and it must be extended after every 6 months. As for the legal assistance, it can be optional if the consultant or the agency says that they can deal with the visa procedure, then it's not compulsory. But if the student would like to have it, then our legal advisor can pre-check the documents, the visa documents, and give professional advice if they are going to be okay for the application. So once the student can transfer the money and it reaches our account, then we can issue the final letter of admission. It's one of the most important documents for the visa application. Once it's received and all the other documents are collected, then the student can go to the Hungarian embassy in Tallinn and submit the whole application. So the students also have a visa interview for getting the visa. Here you can see the application deadlines. As I mentioned before, there is this early bird deadline with 10% discount. Okay, I talked about all of this. Okay, so as for the visa process, there are a couple of very important things to know. First of all, the students, as for the Hungarian law, the students can be sponsored by their parents or their grandparents. Unfortunately, other relatives or friends are not accepted. There are a list of documents which we provide the students or the applicants that must be collected, like a sponsorship letter by the sponsor. Also, they need the bank account statements of the past 6 months, and also other like financial sources can be given. What is also important to know that it's 500 euros per month that we usually recommend the parents to sponsor with the students. And if they have a savings account, of course, the more money they have, the better it is. But at least 1 year's savings have to be on the account, which is about 6,000 euros, because 500 euros are enough. And another important thing to know, two things. One of them is that student loans are not accepted by the Hungarian law. So if student wants to take a loan, they can, but it shouldn't be mentioned to the embassy. And also it was a case of one of the applicants. If a parent has their own business, their own company, it's important to have a private account as well, because the company's bank account is not accepted either. Okay, this is the accommodation. Okay, so basically, oh yeah, the last important thing, what happens when someone's visa is rejected. First of all, we refund the money. There are 3 fees which are non-refundable. One of them is the 95 euros of application fee. The other one is the 100 euros of visa assistance fee in case the student asks for that. And there is 200 euros of administration fee, which is deducted. If the student asks for the visa assistance package, then our legal advisor always checks the rejection letter, and if there is any chance for writing an appeal, then she can do that, and she gives support in this matter. Okay. So if a polytechnic diploma is acceptable, basically it might be. We always need to check all the documents. Requirements to get a master degree. So basically, from the previous bachelor studies, the students need to have 60 credits which are connected to the master program. If they do not have that, but they do have 30, they can start their master studies, but they need to obtain the missing 30 during the first semesters of their master studies. If they do have more than 0, but they do not have 30 credits from their bachelor studies, they can start with a pre-master program. So in one semester, they can obtain the necessary amount of credits which were missing. So there is a specific question about a HR manager, which course the student can opt and what are the other requirements to get admission in a particular course. Well, I think as for HR, the most like the best program could be the management and leadership program at master's level. Basically, in this case as well, we check the bachelor studies. It is not a requirement to have experience, but if there is work experience, professional experience, we take that into consideration. So it can help support the application. Distance or correspondence degree. I think every case is special, so a distance degree or a correspondence degree might be accepted, but it always has to be checked. So, any other questions? Do students need to pay application and visa assistance? Basically, the application fee, the 95 euros, is obligatory, but it doesn't have to be paid at the time of submission of the application. It is a little bit confusing in the online application system because it says that a proof of payment of the 95 euros must be attached, but we do accept this payment later after the application itself happened. And as for the visa assistance, basically there is this package, the visa assistance package, which includes two things. One of them is 120 euros of health insurance for the health insurance, and the other one is 100 euros for the visa assistance itself. And as I mentioned, if the educational agency or consultant feels that they can deal with the visa procedure, they can check their documents, basically we accept it, and it's not compulsory to take this visa assistance. But the health insurance is required. It's very important because it's required by the embassy as well. So I can see a question, maybe it is if the student needs to pay tuition fee. Well, yes, for the first time when the student is admitted, we ask for a whole year's tuition, so 2 semesters fees. What is important to know that after finishing the first year, the student can pay in installments. 2 installments per semester. So after that, there is this option. So the living expenses are 500 euros per month, 500-600 euros, depending on the needs of the student. If a student stays in a dormitory, it's 200-250 euros per month, and then accommodation is sorted, and 250 euros or 300 euros are enough for the living expenses. Yeah, I think for students it's totally fine. Accommodation is on campus or off campus. Well, basically, it's off campus. One of them, the dormitory, is 30 minutes by public transport. It's the campus can be reached very easily. And the other one is very close, basically next street. So it's nearby, but I would say none of them are far from the campuses. Any additional charges for the admission for accepting the conditional letter? Basically, the fees that must be paid when the students get admission is the 95 euros of application fee, either the 120 euros for health insurance or the legal assistance, which is another 100 euros as well, altogether 220. There is the tuition fee of the first 2 semesters, and if the student would like to have accommodation, then we ask for 2 months of deposit for accommodation as well, which is about 400 euros. These charges are all listed in the conditional acceptance letter. Additional cases can be after starting their studies. If there is, for instance, a transfer student who started their studies at another university, for instance, doing a bachelor program, but after finishing 1 or 2 semesters, they decide to transfer to our university, then there is a certain fee of transferred credits as well, but it must be paid after starting their studies, so not at the time of admission. Okay. What I also wanted to mention when the students start their studies, it's always recommended to arrive 1 week earlier than the semester starts, because the students have an orientation day where they can learn about the university itself, their opportunities within the university, and they basically get a lot of practical information, like how to get their residence permit or how to get their student card, I don't know, how to use the library and things like that. Also, the registration is before the actual semester starts, and there is an event which we always organize. This is the Welcome Weekend, which is basically a team building for the students. They can get to know each other, and also some of the staff of the university, some teachers always participate, and we finish it with a very nice trip on the Danube, a boat trip. So it's really nice, and we always encourage the students to participate. For full-time students, it's covered by their tuition fee, so they do not have to pay for it. Okay, can Indian students apply for scholarships? Basically, we do not have a scholarship program before starting the studies. After finishing the first semester, there are scholarships available. One of them is the academic scholarship, which is granted to the best achievers. And it's basically the whole tuition fee, which, like the whole semester's tuition fee, which the student can get back. Also, there is a creative scholarship, and there is a scholarship of Tata Company, which is given to the business students, like to one of the best business students. Okay, so if there are no more questions, then I would like to thank for your attention and your time. And if you think there is anything else I can let you know about, you can either email me or reach me over Skype. So thank you very much for your attention.